Hey everybody, this is Keith Gleason, host of Indie Comics Relay, creator of the Mighty Mascots, and promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. And I'm here to do another Mascots Origins video. Before I get into that, just a reminder that Mighty Mascots 7, 8, and 9 still in demand. We are getting close, people. We have 7 and 8 pretty much done, except for final edits and tweaks. Issue 9 is completing almost the artwork is almost done, I should say, and about 10 to 12 pages lettered and colored. So we're getting there. We hope to go to print hopefully in May, June the latest, and then have the books in July, and finally start fulfilling. And also we should have the figures soon. I've been sharing on Twitter. If you haven't seen that, check out my Twitter page. We're working on muscle figures. So yeah, it's a great time to get in on the book. And if you haven't read the series at all the previous issues are here as well. So check that out. Link is in the description below in the video, and I hope you check it out and back us. All right. Thank you guys so much. So I do these videos from time to time talking about my comic Mighty Mascots, and I finished doing all the origins of all the main Mascots stars. So I thought, let's take a look at some of the villains. So I figured the first one we should probably start with is the major villain, which is Dr. Baneful. Let's start with this one. I was working on this book by myself with Frankie B. Washington, and Frankie did the first original design for Dr. Baneful. Actually, I have that right here if you want to check that out. So this is Frankie's original design for Dr. Baneful. Let me blow it up so we can take a look at her. So my big thing is, I wanted to do a villain, but I wanted it to be a woman, and I wanted the villainous entity of the book to be like an organization, kind of like I was inspired heavily by like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the Foot Clan and Shredder and all his minions, or sidekicks there, like Bebop and Rocksteady and stuff like that. And I thought, I want something along those veins, or even like Cobra, from G.I. Joe, or even Mumra, all those guys, like those Saturday morning cartoon villains. So I was inspired by that. And I also like to do villains that have a little bit of sympathy, because I always loved the way they handled Magneto in Marvel, where he was this character that, if things were just slightly different from Magneto, he could be a good guy. And then there's been times where he has been good, but he has that one thing that makes him into a villainous entity. So I was wanted to do something along those veins, because I always loved that duality with Magneto. And I thought, Dr. Baneful, like I wanted to combine my hatred of corporate America too, like because I've worked in corporate America all my life, and I wanted, a scientific corporation, kind of like. So Dr. Baneful is the head of this evil scientific corporation called the Alchem Group, like almost like a play on alchemy or whatever, where it's something, we're sort of borderline magic, I guess, so, but I figured like they would be, I don't know what they would be doing science with, just experimenting, doing things like that. I didn't think about it that far into it, but I thought of this woman who probably, so the whole thing, I kind of was inspired also by uh Mr. Freeze from Batman. I love that whole thing where he's a villain because his wife is essentially dead. She's in that, that chamber he keeps, I was heavily inspired by the Batman animated episode with the first one with Mr. Freeze. I think it was called Cold as Ice or something, or Cold Heart or something like that. And I love that with his. So I thought, what if we did the reverse of that, and it's the woman that's the villain, and the man is the one that's incapacitated, and you know um she's doing all this for him. So that's sort of where the idea for Baneful came from, and also the Alchem group. I wanted to recreate that kind of villainous entity that morning cartoons have. So this is Frankie B. Washington was the original artist on Mighty Mascots. When I was doing this book, self-publishing it under my own banner, Reckless Sidekick Productions, I was doing a anthology series called Reckless Chronicles, and one of the stories in there was Mighty Mascots. But out of the 3 stories I was doing, Mighty Mascots was the one that was becoming my favorite because I think it's because it's a throwback to everything I love. So this is Frankie's original design. Um, I think my feedback for him that it was I wanted the mask, like the face mask, because I also loved I don't know if you ever read Frank Miller's Martha Washington series. There's a character in there called the Surgeon General, and I always thought that dude looked so cool with the mask and everything. So that's what I kind of wanted Frankie to do for Baneful. I wanted her to wear a mask, and you know, and it just looked cool. And I saw here he added the bee, which a cool looking bee. And then this was going to be part of the series too. Was this vehicle that she's riding on. I wanted it to be like one of those segways that like douchebags in the corporate world drive around with. But I wanted hers to be like, a deadly contraption, basically. So here's the eyes. It was supposed to be sort of like a sentient like segue actually. I think we had my name for it was the trickshaw, like instead of a rickshaw, but like a trickshaw. And you can see it has like these coils that come out that can electrocute people, and it had all these other kind of devices in it. So this is like the way she would drive around the corporation, in the trickshaw, and anyone out of line she would basically zap them or whatever. um and so that was the whole premise, in this laboratory that she oversees. Her husband is disabled and basically near death, but we don't know whatever happened to him. And maybe I'll get into that at some point down the road, but it's not that big a deal. But basically, he's, being held on some like high powered life support. And that's the reason she's looking for different experiments that can save his life. So that's part of the whole thing. So why her or motivation, basically. So I also pulled up some of the issue. This is actually, let me go to this one first. This is the first storyline of the Mighty Mascots ever. This was in the Reckless Chronicles. This was Frankie and me doing basically the origin of the Mighty Mascots, where Manny Coleman was still part of the Alchem group. And as you can see in these pages, like it starts off where Manny also often mentions his friend of his called Trevor. And in the storyline, Trevor comes running by Manny as he's leaving for work one night, being chased by Dr. Baneful. And he has the 3D formula in his hand. So, and he ends up hiding it in a break room cupboard. And that's how the cereals, because in the cupboard is all everybody's, all the workers' cereals and things like that. And then the formula ends up spraying on the cereal, and that's how we get the Mighty Mascots. Typical Saturday morning cartoon origin. But she comes in and she's using her trick shot to take this guy out, and wants this formula because she sees it as you don't know it at the time, but she sees it as a way or a possible way to bring back her husband. So that's where her anger is coming from and things like that. So yeah, this early storyline's fun. And you get to see the mascots appear after that. But then here also is some of the pages from when she first shows up in the Alterna comic series, this is issue 2. And when Ian took over for, his version of Baneful is a lot different from Frankie's. He actually got rid of the mask, and instead he gave her this weird like eye thing instead of the two goggles she had. So I like it better. She almost looks like a cyborg, or something like that. And she's definitely more mean looking with Ian's version, So I do like how he drew them, how he drew her, and I like both versions, but I think Ian nailed it a little better. I don't know. And the mask thing kind of works with, Frankie's version, but not Ian's version. I don't know. But here's a few pages from issue 2 when we first find out that all this craziness was caused by Dr. Baneful and the Alchem group. And these are the thugs from issue 1 that poured the 3D formula into the grocery store's sprinkler system. So they come back, and basically she explains to them what she's doing and why. And you get to see the first appearance of her husband, who's in the chamber and basically on life support and the verge of dying. And as we find out in issues 4, 5, and 6, his life support chamber starts to crash. So things start to get, a little crazy in the Baneful world. I don't want to go into it if you haven't read the issues, but part of her personality is she can snap in an instant. She tries to be professional, but someone just says something dumb or something that irks her, and she loses it instantly. So she's one of those kind of characters. But yeah, I think she's going to be a great driver for this series. And when you see issues 7, 8, and 9, you'll see that things are starting to head in an interesting direction with the Alchem group. Sorry for this wordy page, by the way, a little wordy, but I had to get in the whole idea of what was going on, And then obviously she takes care of these 2 thugs and sends them into some kind of multiversal thing, or I don't know what she did here. She probably like destroyed them or something, But yeah, no, it's very, very, very fun character to write. And then back to the mascots, and I think that's. Let me see. I think I showed you guys everything, that I had for Dr. Baneful. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I had some drawings from Ian when he originally designed her, but I was going to say, but I don't know where I put it. It's either lost in my email somewhere, or or I never saved it to this drive. I was going to show you that, but you could see in the issues from Alterna how he drew her and how she turned out. So yeah, so she's going to be the villain for this series, probably for the long haul. And then maybe someday we'll see her husband and what happened there, So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the series heads, and if I ever need to. As to me, that aspect was never that important, but some people may want to know that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a story will tie into it or something. Otherwise, but I'd love to get into more of the villains from the series, because a lot of them are very unique and fun and have cool origins somewhere, but Baneful is probably a mishmash of a bunch of different things, stuff, couple of different things that I really like mixed with my hatred of corporate America. So there you go. All right, everybody, thanks for watching another Mascot Origins video. We appreciate you checking these out. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, share it with the people, hit the bell for notifications, let other people know, and join us on our live streams. We often talk to indie creators, and we have a blast. We talk comics, and we learn, you learn about comics through our show. There's a lot of instructional videos on the channel, how to start a Comic Con, how to set up your table at Comic Cons, things like that. So definitely a great resource for indie creators and just everyday people. So check it out. All right, everybody, have a great week, and most importantly, read some comics. All right, bye.